Hi, we're Shannon and Jerry Arner.
And our dog, Betty White.
Your hosts of the Arner Adventures podcast.
Could we have named it something more creative? Probably. But it's the name of our blog. It's our last name. We're on an adventure. Yada, yada, yada. After owning our own business, working 24/7.
And don't forget a mental breakdown in between.
We made a lifestyle change and decided to make the most out of life.
We sold our house, most of our belongings, downsized, and moved to the coast.
We live life minimally, but fully.
We live each day as an adventure.
This show will help you learn how to live life more fully, with more intention, by experiencing more, and with less stuff.
We'll talk about our own experiences, interview others who have much to share by creating a spark in our lives.
Some days we'll share real-life ongoings of what we're going through, and others will talk about our favorite flavor of waffle.
Come join our adventure.
It's the Arner Adventures Podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Jerry.
Betty White is currently down at our feet enjoying some pup ice cream at the moment. And we are back for episode 94 of the Arner Adventures Podcast.
Oh, wow, 94. And how ironic, because 94 was the year we first started with Arner Adventures.
It was.
No, wait a minute. It's not that long ago.
I was like, do you really think that?
Oh, it's not that long ago.
No. We are celebrating our 100th episode soon. Obviously, we're episode 94. 100 is November 14th, I think. We've got some big things planned. Not really. We're just really excited about it. But, this episode specifically is being released the first week of October. So we wanted to touch on a topic that is super important to us, which is mental health.
Yes, it's World Mental Health Month, and we're all about spreading awareness worldwide with empathy. We're here to be a united voice, inspiring those facing challenges to find hope, take action, and make a lasting impact.
That's right. Mental health matters and conversations matter. So we're going to have a conversation that will hopefully inspire you to do the same.
So let's just get right to it and talk about the power of conversation.
That's right. We're getting right into this episode today. No beating around the bush. We're just going to go ahead and start talking about it. This podcast, whether this is your first episode or whether this is your 94th, this podcast was started to have more conversations about things that mean a lot to us. And the reason that we started the podcast was because there were so many people in our lives that whether we knew them personally or did not, there were so many people who had been through journeys similar to ours or were inspirations to us. And we were like, gosh, we would love to talk about the things that we blog about, but it would be really great to talk about mental health, of course, and then talk to other people about, their journey. And I feel like we've been so fortunate to have had guests on the show to be really open and authentic about their own struggles. And since this is what the podcast is about, I just think it's really great that when October comes, we do focus on World Mental Health Month. And then, of course, World Mental Health Day. And there's a lot of things we're going to talk about with that.
Yeah. And when you have an open conversation about mental health, it allows others to feel more open to talk about their own experience.
Yeah.
And
I think, with us, I know me, I through the blog a lot and you too, but I have no problem talking about my mental health. No problem. I do feel like every time I talk about it, there's someone in the conversation that also is like, oh my gosh, I felt that way too. I have never talked about it. And that's really what all this is about, is the more you talk about mental health, mental wellness, improving your mental wellness, struggles that we go through, the less stigma there is about it, right?
Right. And we've probably made it a little bit easier on ourselves through the podcast and whatnot, because we talk about it a lot. So we've gotten accustomed to it.
Yeah.
We've more normalized it for us anyway.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. I think we're really fortunate. No, I don't think so. We are very fortunate in that we do support each other with any struggles like that. There are people we have talked to within our lives who are in situations where they don't feel supported with their mental health, with their partners. There's several people like that. And I just, mental health is like physical health. You have to deal with it your whole life. I mean, can you imagine having, I don't know, I always say the broken arm or broken leg, but can you imagine having a broken arm and okay, it's going to be damaged or you're going to have issues with it the rest of your life. And your partner or someone close to you says, you know what, I just can't handle that. What? It's just
Right.
strange to me because it's the same thing. And these are struggles you're going to have to go through your whole life, whether it's depression, whether it's bipolar disorder, whether it's anxiety, there's a million different things you can be going through. And yes, you need to be hopefully working towards, coping skills and how to maneuver through life with it. But when you don't have support, it just really sucks. And what I've realized is the people who don't have support are the people who don't even understand mental health.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think it takes a long time to break that stigma, and some people are just from different parts of culture where it's probably not talked about, so they're just not there where they can really understand it that well.
Yeah.
And which is unfortunate, but that's why you do things like we do.
Yeah.
So slowly breaks down those stigmas, even to certain people and people in different cultures who may not or may have a lot of stigma towards it.
Yeah. Yeah. In the US, especially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, of course, last year, we'll talk about October 10th is World Mental Health Day. We have such a special guest on that day. I don't even want to spoil the surprise. It's just going to be such a great episode. And the fact that it is airing on October 10th, World Mental Health Day, and all that person does for mental health is just amazing. But October 10th is World Mental Health Day. So this started back in 92. Every year, the 10th of October marks the observance of World Mental Health Day, a day dedicated to global awareness and understanding of mental health issues.
And it's also Depression Awareness Month.
That's right.
As well, which we want to specifically point out because we discussed it in episode number 26. Boy, that's going back.
I know.
26 with mental health advocate Lindsay Ferris. And depression is not something that's talked about a lot. People say they are anxious or have anxiety, but they don't express depression.
Yeah.
And yeah, because anxiety is kind of a buzzword, I have the anxiety. I'm anxious.
Yeah. People don't say if they're clinically depressed, which I definitely have been. I think you're in a situation where you don't go around talking about it because you're usually isolated.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who function in a depressed state and they don't talk about it. It's not one of those buzzwords. It's not, I feel like
good
anxiety.
Water cooler talk.
No.
It's how are you, Bob? I'm a little depressed, and
right.
It clears the room. So and it shouldn't, but
it shouldn't.
I think that's the fear. So we want to make sure we include it in the conversation.
Yeah, we definitely do. It is, and in the United States, I believe May is National Mental Health Month. But we really, I don't know if celebrate's the right word. We really recognize World Mental Health Month, because a lot of our community is from around the world. A lot of our guests are from around the world. And so we think it's important to make it also known that this is a world crisis, to make sure that we are talking about. The stigma does exist everywhere, especially in the United States, but it does exist in many countries worse than here. So we just think it's important to discuss. And so what we're going to do is talk about 4 ways that you can get involved, because you might be saying, well, gosh, it's World Mental Health Month. How can I get involved? And so we're going to tell you, and we can't wait to get to number 4, but let's just go ahead and start with number 1. Do you want to start with number 1?
Starting with number 1, sure. Have conversations about it. Ask people in your life, how are you? Or how are you? Depending on what region of the country you're from. And really listen to their answer.
Yeah. I can't remember if I've talked about this on the podcast or not. I know I've mentioned it in conversation to people. I'm a sociology major. And my senior year of college, we, for a week, had to go around, and when someone said, "Hey, how's it going?" or "Hey, how are you?" we had to answer them saying, "Terrible, how are you?" or "Absolutely, awful, how are you?" And to see if they would respond. Most of the time, they do not. Most of the people just are like, "Oh, okay, good." And they just keep going.
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
not, you need to authentically ask someone how they're doing, and let them answer you in an authentic way.
Hmm.
If you don't care about how they're doing, don't ask. But it is nice to ask someone how they're doing. Not enough people say, "Jerry, how are you?"
Yeah, and it just goes to show you how just much it comes up in regular conversation, and it's not always that authentic.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
As people go, okay, and turn around if you tell them, I'm rotten.
Right.
And then you're left
Right.
alone at the water cooler
Yeah.
once again.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the second thing is random acts of kindness. Now, you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's going to be really great for somebody, of course, but this one's not only good for the receiver, it's really good for you, the giver. Because when you do something for someone else, an act of service, you get that rewarding feeling from it. Like, even if it's small, it just allows you to make a difference. It can be, picking up we just had a storm, picking up limbs in someone's yard after the storm, taking the trash out, picking their trash can up in the yard, and they may not even know it was you, and that's okay. But you get this rewarding feeling that, gosh, okay, I know I made a difference in that person's life. When it's even just when it's small and it's random, just small things.
It is. It is. And the more that you do and the more of those things you connect and thread together through your life, I think the more helpful that can be. And I think those things are kind of lost in a consumer based culture like ours sometimes,
Yeah.
because the mindset does seem to go to consume and get, and it's you can
Yeah.
forget to give it away, sort of help other
That's true.
people. Yeah.
That's true.
So that's yeah, you need more of that, and the more of that you do, it can be kind of a gradual process at times, but I think the more you do it, the more it helps.
Yeah.
Um, so we like to say, moving right along, volunteer or donate or advocate. If there's a specific mental health advocacy group that you align with, ask them if you can help. It may not always be financial, though we know it helps. It could be sending emails, helping with an event. Use your skill set to help your advocacy efforts.
Yeah. Last year in October, we took a portion of the proceeds of sponsorships of the podcast, and we donated to, I think we split it between 5 different advocacy groups. One of them is called Not One More Vet. And it's an advocacy group that works toward, they have the mission of reducing suicide rates amongst veterinarians and veterinarian staff. And when we sent the donations out, I cannot remember her name, but the person who was responsible for, I guess, following that stuff, reached out to us, and she said, "I've read your blog and I understand, what you guys have been through." And they were just so appreciative. And she said, "We would love for you to get involved, but I want to respect the fact that, of what we had been through with, compassion fatigue and working in that industry." And she was like, "Anyway, we have a ton of things that we need help with. It can be sending emails out. It can be, posting something on social media or sharing it. It can be something that's so small." It was just really nice to hear that, because I think sometimes you feel like, "Oh, I can't make this big donation, or I can't go fly somewhere and volunteer. Or I can't spend a weekend volunteering. I don't have the time," or whatever it is. But if you can just share their posts or ask them, "Hey, what do you need help with?" They may say, "Get 10 people to like this post," or they may say, "Hey, we really need some phone calls to some people, asking how they're doing or whatever it is. There's a million different ways. It's the same thing with, the animal advocacy groups that we talk about all the time. It's like, there's so many things you can do, whether it's washing laundry or sending emails out, all those different things. It doesn't always have to be financial.
No, and a lot of good things start small like that too, and then they gain traction. Yeah. An idea expands and it gains traction.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You just got to start with that first step.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're at number 4 and we are just so excited about this. As we talked about last October, we did take a portion of our sponsorship proceeds and donated. So we've been thinking most of the year, how can we, make a difference again? And it, fit along with our lifestyle and, I guess sort of who we are, so we're going to announce how you can get involved with this endeavor. So our journey as Arnert Ventures has always been about embracing life's adventures, and it's taken us to beautiful and healing places. One of those places is where we currently live now, by the ocean. And during a particularly dark time in our lives, it became our sanctuary, our healer.
Oh, you got that right. The ocean has a unique way of bringing a sense of calm, and that's why we're thrilled to announce our partnership with Southern Oak Artisan, a brand that shares our passion for making a positive impact.
Southern Oak Artisan, you've heard us talk about them before. They're a podcast sponsor. They've created something truly special just for us. It is called the Thalassophile Soy Candle. Now, before you ask, Thalassophile, we'll put it up on our YouTube here, but if you're listening to it, it's THALASSOPHILE. It means a lover of the ocean. And that word has deep meaning for us. And fun fact, the very first post we ever did on Instagram was the definition of thalassophile.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah. The very first post. And I actually didn't even remember that until they created this candle and we were talking about, what we wanted it to be called. And we know that the ocean does have healing properties, and it's something that was so great in our life. And we often say, we're thalassophiles, lovers of the ocean. So we're excited that the soy candle is going to be called that.
It is really exciting. Absolutely. The thalassophile. I love saying that.
Yeah.
The thalassophile soy candle captures the essence of the ocean in a beautiful handcrafted soy candle. It's not just any candle. It's a symbol of hope, healing, and the power of nature.
And here's what makes it even more incredible. A portion of the proceeds from the Thalassophile soy candle will be donated to our chosen mental health advocacy groups. They're all linked in the show notes. Mental health, of course, as we've talked about, is a cause that's close to our hearts, and we believe in supporting it in any way that we can.
By purchasing this candle, the Thalassophile, you're not only bringing the soothing aroma of the sea into your home, but also contributing to a cause that matters deeply to us.
So you can head to the show notes for a link, or you can go to arnerventures.com/shop to purchase the Thalassophile soy candle and be a part of this meaningful journey with us. Share it with friends, family, anyone who needs a little bit more healing and hope in their lives.
We're excited about this partnership and the positive impact it can have on mental health awareness and advocacy. Together, we can light the path to hope and healing, one candle at a time. Thalassophile. If this episode resonated with you, or if you know of someone who would benefit from anything we talked about today, or any episode, our guests, or anything, please share it with a friend. It's a great way of supporting the podcast and us, and we really appreciate it.
Another way of supporting the pod is by leaving us a 5-star review rating on the platform you're listening to us on. Oh, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button because that also supports us. We would love that.
You can always find us, links we refer to during the show, and any of the podcast sponsors at arnerventures.com or linked here in these show notes. And until next time, enjoy that journey you're on. We're wishing you lots of adventures.
Adios.
Arrivederci.
Au revoir.
Adios.
Sayonara.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Dos Vidiniana.
And a yeon.